Welcome to Fashion Reverie Talks. I am Tijana Ibrahimovic.
And I am Cicily Daniels.
Fashion Reverie takes you from the front lines of fashion to the front row.
All of Fashion Reverie Talks segments are based on published content found on fashionreverie.com.
So remember, if you want more information on the segments, go to fashionreverie.com.
Welcome to our new season 3. And in this episode, we talk with fashion icon Rebecca Moses and fashion designer Gita Omri.
We start every episode with fashion news. All of our news segments are based on the fashion news alerts found on fashionreverie.com. So let's jump into the current events in fashion. We are going to start with the New York Fashion Week and with Tommy Hilfiger's new monogram. So we are all warming up for New York Fashion Week. I'm very excited to get back into action. And so I guess some designers are sort of refreshing their look and approach. So Tommy is one of them. He will debut his new monogram during his presentation on September 11th during New York Fashion Week. And it was created with British illustrator and graphic designer Fergus Purcell. It will be debuted, so I'm very excited to see how it will look during his fall 22 collection. And also Tommy is returning after 3 years of absence. So let's see what happens.
You know, I'm not always a graphic person or whatever, but that does look like a cute bag and we have the logo. So
right. Design is more important than the actual monogram, I guess.
Yes, exactly. Well, in my fashion news, I'm talking about one of my favorite makeup designers, Pat McGrath. I could do everything Pat McGrath. So just in case you were wondering what I'm wearing, it's Pat McGrath. Right now, literally. But Pat McGrath is having a second collaboration with the streetwear brand Supreme. And she's teaming up with Supreme for a co-branded nail polish kit. And it looks very modern and cutting edge with a red and a black and a white and custom logo nail decals. And it is for men and women, or it's for everyone. It's all sex, all gender, which is, obviously very important in this day and age. And I just think it looks fun. So, I've already given far too much money to Pat McGrath, and I might give more money. I just always have a list, though. I'm always on the website. I was like, I want everything. Oh,
mm-hmm. All I want is everything.
That's all I want. I don't know.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting, and it's always good to add some new items to our beauty collections. Well, speaking of which, September 1st, supermodel and entrepreneur Kate Moss will launch a new beauty and wellness brand called Cosmos. It's a curated wellness space with beauty and wellness products. And as they say, they rejuvenate and draw on the extraordinary life experiences of Kate Moss, announced on their Instagram page. So I'm curious to see what kind of products we will get, since another thing they mentioned in their post is that each ritual opens the door to balance, restoration, and love, something I in particular currently feel I really need. So,
well, if you really need it, then I need it for you, girl.
Yeah, let's see what Cosmos brings.
Well, I think that's the end of our fashion news for this week, yeah?
Yes, that's it.
So if you want more fashion news, go to fashionreverie.com.
And so stay tuned, because an interview with Rebecca Moses is coming up. Well, viewers, we have a really special treat for Fashion Reverie Talks. We have Rebecca Moses here. She is an American fashion designer, artist, and author based in New York City. I'm very excited to talk to her about her career and what is currently happening. Welcome, Rebecca, to Fashion Reverie Talks.
I'm very honored and very happy to be here.
I love your look. You always wear something very special and interesting. And I am very curious, how did you first discover your passion for fashion? How did you get involved in fashion eventually?
I think my mom took me shopping a lot and we watched old movies, and those two things were the stimulus.
And do you still get inspiration from maybe old movies, or how do you sort of work on your style? I mean, or how did it evolve?
I think my greatest inspiration is just observing people, keeping up on the arts, going to see as much theater and plays and music and anything that is socially happening out there. I think those are the stimulus for me, creatively, whether it's designing clothes or painting or writing. I think it's observing where we are as a society. So it's been challenging the last few years since so many of us were in hibernation.
Yeah, and how did you eventually get involved in fashion industry?
I took a decision at the early age of 14 that I was going to be a fashion designer. And I skipped a year in high school, applied to the schools, got accepted, and I attended FIT for 2 years and graduated and started working.
That's amazing. It's good to know what you want at an early age. So you're one of the first American fashion designers to enter the European market in the 90s. Tell us a little bit about that experience. How did you communicate creatively in somewhat different environment or new environment?
It was very challenging in the beginning. I think that growing up in New York and living in a country like America, we're a young country, and we kind of, growing up in New York, believed that you can do anything. And in Europe, they're much more traditional and they have much more rules. So I had to learn a lot about the culture in order to achieve what I needed to achieve. So I had to understand that there were a lot of customs and traditions, and we had to evolve the thinking. So it was a challenge, but a fun challenge.
Yeah, it must have taken a little bit of a time to learn how to change minds of such a traditional Europeans. I can
Totally.
kind of understand that. Yeah. So we do love your hand-painted handbags in Fashion Reverie. So it kind of they combine your fine art aesthetics and your fashion design.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about your accessories that you make.
Well, I started that I love vintage handbags. I love the structure of them. I love the quality, the hardware. So I collect them. And then, I think one day I just said to myself, I have to give a gift to a person who was really hard to give a gift to. And I just, I'm going to take one of these bags and paint it. And that's how it started. And I just, for many years, just gave them as gifts to very special people. And then I got a bit more of a demand because it wasn't like something I was sharing with a lot. And I think that one day the stylist of Sex and the City went into a shop, Marlene Wetherell, who's a vintage dealer in New York, and she saw my bags there. And so that really gave a lot of press to it when Sarah Jessica wore it. So, but it's really like a little side secret passion of mine. I always joke when I run out of paper, I grab a bag. I paint on everything.
I love them. I also love the gloves that you paint on. That's quite unique.
Those are fun. It's such a fun thing, the gloves, because you've got the fingers and you can just say so many things and make a statement. I'm very much a hand person. I talk with my hands a lot, so I think gloves are such a great accessory and just fun to play with more.
I agree. And I think that the gloves sort of have a comeback these days. A lot of people are incorporating them in their wardrobe. So
yes. I love stockings too. Stockings, I think, are really coming back too. I'm glad. I think we need to get a little bit more polished, like stockings and gloves, and, really celebrate the accessories of fashion.
I agree with you. I hope our viewers agree as well and start, incorporating stockings and gloves if they already aren't. So you also have a new art exhibit coming up in Los Angeles, and it draws inspiration from 8 female jazz singers.
Yes.
Why jazz? And what do all these women have in common?
So I've always painted and celebrated women, and I like to celebrate women that really make a difference. And I grew up with jazz. Ralph Pucci, who is the owner of the gallery, is another jazz lover and tries to support the jazz world in many ways. And I felt that these women, and it was hard to choose 8 because there's so many wonderful women, but these 8 I chose because I felt they each had a remarkably individual talent, and their journeys were so courageous. It's the exhibit is called Voices, but it's not just their voice of singing, it's their voice of how they overcame and survived such really enormously challenging times. They were all Black women who, during very, very painful times of prejudice and hate, and being women on the road, they faced a lot of challenges, and yet, they did it, and they did it in they changed music in the 20th century. So I think that I wanted to honor these women, and I hope that other young singers of today's generation will learn more about these women and thank them every day for what they've done.
I'm curious about your process of presenting these women. Did you already have a vision how to draw them, or you sort of did that in the process while maybe, I'm imagining, listening to their music, or how did that?
It was a very deep process. I bought almost every biography I could find on each one of them. And as I painted them, before I even started painting them, I started reading their biographies, because you think you know so much, but you find out there's so much more to know. And these women had extraordinary stories, which we will share during the exhibit. And so as I painted them, they would go through phases of me reading, listening to their music, watching documentaries. It was a total, like saturation, of information on these women. And that's how I did it. And my studio is really quite small. So, and these paintings are 6 feet by 4 feet. So I went from working on an easel to working on a huge kitchen countertop, because the paintings are 3-dimensional. So their hair is made out of rice paper and things like that. So the women that I've painted are Lena Horne, Ella Fitzgerald, Billie Holiday, Josephine Baker, Joyce Bryant, Hazel Scott. Did I say 8? And Nina Simone.
Wow. I'm excited to hear about the Los Angeles exhibit, and I hope it maybe comes to New York too, so we can attend.
you. I'm very excited too. I just feel these women deserve to be praised regularly.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for sharing with us about your work and the upcoming art exhibit. And I hope to have you back to Fashion
That would be
Reverie.
a pleasure.
Thank you very much.
Take care. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Now, I am thrilled to welcome an up-and-coming designer, Gita Omri, to our show. She is going to be debut showing at New York Fashion Week. And it's really exciting for me and for a lot of people because unlike a lot of designers, Gita is geared towards making clothes for all women's bodies, for all women to feel beautiful and confident and wonderful. And so I'm so thrilled. Gita, I'm so glad to have you here. How you doing?
Hi, it's so great to be here. Thanks for having me on the show.
Absolutely. Well, I have a bunch of questions for you, and I'm so excited for your collection. But could you briefly talk about your fashion journey from studying at the prestigious Central St. Martin's College to creating your own fashion brand? I know that is a journey, so give me a little of the highlights.
Well, actually, the credit doesn't go to Central St. Martin's. I didn't have a good experience there, and I didn't finish my program.
Oh, okay.
I actually studied at the Art Institute of New York first. Right. Then I did my stint in St. Martin's and realized really quickly that I didn't respond well to their style of education. And so I came back to the States and completed my degree with the Academy of Art University of San Francisco. So I did a lot of school.
Well, that just means you have a lot to draw from. And that is part of the reason, tell a little bit about your story as to why your fashion collection focuses on size inclusivity. But maybe you could tell us how that began for you and, anything else you think is important about that.
Sure. Well, I grew up with 3 sisters, and I was the plus size sister. And that was always kind of a challenge for me to also feel like I don't fit in, but also at the time, there was really nothing available at my size, not like there is today. And so I had to shop a lot in, where my math teacher would shop and figure out how to make it cute for myself. And when you're a teenager, that's not what you want to be doing. When I decided to study fashion, I knew I wanted to do luxury. I wanted to do high-end, runway, all of that. And actually, when I started school, my intention was to create something that I could wear. And really quickly, I learned that, oh, no, there is no luxury for plus size. That's not a thing. So if you want to be a luxury designer, you can't do plus size. If you want to be a plus size designer, you can do that. But it was very much, this is the way, or this is the way. Unfortunately, I decided that I prefer to be a luxury designer rather than a plus size designer. And that was the path I kind of went down until one day I looked at my collection and I said, I can't wear any of my own stuff. This is ridiculous. I can't wear my own clothing. And actually after my stint at St. Martin's is when I got back and I was so frustrated with constantly being told how things should be, what things should be, how the industry is. And I just said, what do I want to do? What can I do? I mean, just another women's wear brand, we do not need that. What can I do that's different, that is needed? How can I contribute to some change? And that's how I really started developing the way I do inclusive sizing.
I loved reading about how you get models of every size that you're making, so that you can have the fit and check the fit of all of your designs. I just think that kind of extra effort is going to be appreciated whether you are size 2 or size 20. I think that everyone wants to feel great and feel confident. So I love to feel confident. So I might be one of your customers, but who is your customer?
That would be great.
Who is your customer, you'd say?
My customer, Look, the only exclusivity really the brand has or is in the price point. It is priced high because of what it takes to create this kind of a collection. I mean, a lot of people, most designers don't do this or haven't done this because it costs twice as much to develop the collection. Because like you said, I do every style on a 2 and a 20 so that on the runway, they're identical, but in the back end, yes, they're different because different patterns need different things. So it is much more expensive to create a collection this way, but I think it'll pay off because the message of the brand is inclusive. And so, you know, when you say, who's my girl, you know, honestly, if you could pay for it, you're welcome. Like that's kind of how I feel like it should be today. I think women in all kinds, you know, they have, their closets are so versatile. It's not like one woman she's always in the sheath dress and she's always in the this, and this woman has her preppy look and this woman has her grungy look. I feel like today we're so more flexible with our looks and with changing it up. And now today I'm going to dress more like this or more like that. And so, you know, I wanted to create a brand that has something for anybody who wants to dare.
I love that. And I really do think, I mean, obviously design always matters, but especially I think when women have curves, like the fit is what helps to, you know, just elevate the fashion. Like it's always about the fit and how does it fit on the body and how is it, you know, how does that woman feel when she's wearing it? So I think that's wonderful. Now, as I've already said, you are making your debut at New York Fashion Week in a few weeks. Congratulations, first of all. Can you tell us what we should expect?
Well, I don't know how much I should give away, but
hint.
I'm going to present in a way that has never been presented before. And so even though there have been other luxury designers who have shown plus size models on the runway, we're taking that up a notch.
Okay, a little cryptic, but you know, like no, I mean,
you'll have to tune in.
That's right. And it's Fashion Week, which is always, that's why Fashion Week is Fashion Week. It's an exciting time to see like, how is the show in addition to the clothing that's at the show. So that's wonderful. Gita, thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. And I personally am thrilled to see your collection.
Thank you. I hope you like it. I hope it's well received. I mean, it's so much work. So that's always the fear, right?
Well, I know that it's going to be fantastic, and viewers, you know what to look for, and especially across all sizes, which we think is so important. Thank you so much, Gita, for being here.
My pleasure. Thank you. Well, viewers, that is it for this episode of Fashion Reverie Talks.
We would like to thank our guests, Rebecca Moses and Gita Omri, for joining us.
And for information on these and other stories, go to fashionreverie.com. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.